Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to the Fantasy Forecast for Thursday, March 10th, 2016. And I want to start by apologizing to all my fans there for my absence the last couple days. I've been sick over here and just didn't have the voice to podcast out until today. And it's still just a podcast, guys. I look like death warmed over right now. Guys, follow me on Twitter if you need some info. I've been there for the guys that have been asking while I've been sick. I'll review results really fast from last night. And the night before in a little bit. I'll get to them. They were both winners. I want to get onto the good stuff right now. The players you need to be targeting today and the situations you should be looking at. I think we're going to steer away today from doing an actual lineup. I know you're looking at one right now if you have a screen, or if you're podcasting, you're not. But if I do want to encourage you guys to build your own lineups, and I'm going to explain my reasoning with you right now. You guys all know there are lineup providers out there. They'll sign you up for a day or a week or however long, and then they'll send you a lineup that you're supposed to play in whatever contest you choose. I'll tell you this, they almost always say cash. And the reason why they do that is because the lines are usually lower in cash games to win than in tournaments, and thus these providers end up with higher win rates that they can brag about. Think about that for a second, guys. I'm not kidding. I saw someone provider bragging today on Twitter with a retweet from a customer about how their 306.3 score from last night won 3 big head-to-head matchups right next to their corresponding losses in the tournaments. It was hilarious. Like, oh boy, you won a couple $50 head-to-heads, but you lost every other tournament with it. So did you break even, or did you come out a little... Don't be bragging about 316. You needed 318 last night, and I know that because in the $5 tournament, the line to win was 317.3. I won by a goddamn point. It was that close. So don't be bragging about a 306 to me. And they'll do that all the time. Okay, so let's get to... You sell lineups, though, to enough people, and I'm sure you can create some wins, especially with what I was explaining, target cash games. And as long as you know a little bit of your stuff with DFS, you probably have some skill. So you'll end up with more wins than losses, right? And you just tweet those out. Let me ask you guys this, though. The first problem is, where do you want to spend? Well, that was the first problem, actually. You know, they're bragging all the time about their wins, and they don't really win as well as you think they do. The second problem is, where do you want to spend your money? Or in having someone make a lineup for you, or on the game itself. The way I see it, if you do the first, you're automatically raising the cost of playing and giving yourself an excellent chance of splitting the top prize, which is the third reason why you shouldn't do it. Because if they hit and you hit, so does everyone else in your beautiful little group. Have you guys seen what a 30-way split does to that top $25,000 prize? I'm going to show it here. I'm in the 25K to first. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to pull the prize structure real fast. You'll be able to see that. Should be all focused in. First place is 25 grand. That's beautiful. I love that. Do you know what I mean? But have you guys seen what happens to a 30-way split at the top $25,000 prize? You have the same exact score as everyone else for the top 30, scrolling down to where 30 pays, $300. Well, and that's even hoping the provider limits it too. You know, only giving out to 20 people, and that those 20 people didn't share it with their buddies or anything. There was an entry last night, guys, that was entered into the big double up. It had about 20,000 total entries. It was entered in more than 2,000 times. The exact same lineup, with like almost 15% of all the lineups in the contest. Think about that. Going back to that split I was talking about, a 3-way split at the top, 25, 12.5, and 9,000. That makes your $25,000 ticket if you were number 1, but you were number 1 with 3 and the top spot's 4, so all the 3 prizes are combined together and split between you. You get $15,500. That's not bad. And that can happen when you have 173,000 entries in a contest. It's okay. You know what I mean? The unique combination pickers, you might have 2 or one or 2 other lineups that match yours, even 3, but it's still a huge payday. But what doesn't happen often, but does rarely, is a huge split at the top. So let's take it to that 30-way split I was telling you about right now, going down to here. I'm done the math for you guys. That $15,500 that you would have won on a 3-way split, That's now only $2,700 on your $2 ticket. You're getting to the points where, you know, you could do a huge 10-team parlay in Vegas and it would pay the same. It's still, I mean, I'd be happy with that with a lineup provider, though, because, I mean, what I've seen is, you know, the top prize. With lineup providers, guys, I've seen the top prize have a 300-way split. And I'll do the math for you right now. That comes out to $350. So, guys, you tell me, is it worth the cost that you paid the lineup provider, $100 for the season, whatever, and unless you entered that same lineup 10 different times, and I know most of you guys don't do that because I know if you enter 10 times, you feel that with 10 different lineups, you have more chances of winning if you spread them out and you can hit one. Well, you still end up with 8 losers that way usually, guys. We'll focus on that later, how you should be doing a single lineup instead of multiples, but that's a different video. Okay, so we all want to win the 25 grand, not 350. And that's why we like bigger slates. It gives us a chance for differentiation, which is desperately needed on a 2-game slate, and only starts to be not so much of a concern once you get to like 6 games running or more. Tonight we have 4, and that middle ground where there'll be some chalky plays in every position, and there's some possible low-owned players, but not astronomically low last night, like G was or Vince Carter. Yes, you know, they both had valid reasons to be played. G perhaps a bit more than Carter because you got the news before lineup block, like right before. But with both teams hugely depleted due to injuries, you could expect that some minimum value players were going to get extended minutes last night. If they do something with those minutes, and that's when reading the game is good, you know, having a good matchup, is it going to be high scoring, that kind of stuff, who's his likely defender, that'll give you the edge you need to make those decisions. But one of my strategies is to grab at least one minimum price player so you can open up the rest of your team and all of the, you know, higher tier options basically come available. You'd be surprised how often this strategy gets you a paying night. It's back out of the price structure. Looking at this lineup here, you guys are going to see all the minimums. So you can just grab a little quick like look at what I've got thrown together right there. This is a minimum priced lineup. So, and I'm going to get to the point here. Remember, the skill is in winning more nights than not. The luck is simply how much you win on the winning nights, which goes full circle to my original point. If I give you guys your exact lineups or you buy your lineups from a provider, you're all going to split. Because this is free and it's growing, and it's just not logical to expect others that they won't play some of these lines if I just give them out to you. So it'll help everyone. What we're going to do now is we're going to point out the specific good picks in each position with the possible minimum price plays and why you consider those minimum price guys. That way you can identify the specific picks you like, build your lineup pretty fast, and because I'm going to keep it short at every position, you can kind of just swap out one guy for one that fits. Once you got the south, you know, say you build like you're around all these low price guys I have here and put in the rest of it, and you find you're over about 2,600. Well, I've mentioned a couple other guys, so you start looking down. Can I drop 2,600 at just one slot to get someone else that's decent? And then you pretty much have your lineup. So, guys, I build lineups with minimum price players all the time as a base because they're all forgotten players. And then you upgrade every single slot from there and you build the best. Whatever couple minimums you end up with at the end, you find you usually like them the most for whatever reason, and then you have a super stacked lineup around it. This minimum priced lineup has 26,000 left with it, and it's a complete loser, even if all my value picks do value. I mean, don't run this, guys, because I've only gotten 6 times maybe the $34,000 that I've spent. There's 26 remaining. Do 6 times value off the 34 grand and you're going to get a score of 200. Yeah, that ain't winning. But if I pull some of these guys to high floor people, what do you think is going to happen? Then I build a slate with raw floors from big names with upside hopefully, while still retaining the nice floor of players that I've built that have all the various reasons they could pay. So let's look at the nicer options right now we can upgrade all these gentlemen to as well. And then, you know, I'll just mention them and then I'll go through. And this is how we do that. You'll start with a daily fantasy site written by like multiple winning experts. It's free. I'm going to show you guys DSFR in a second. They do nice write-ups. But we'll start with these punt plays and then we'll go in. And just know this is an excellent way to start building and targeting the night before or early in the morning so you can tinker and finalize for those last minute changes 15 minutes before lock. You know, look at a site like DSFR to see what those extra higher price players you might want to be targeting in when you go in here. Let me show you what we'll do here. Okay, so we have Ronnie Price and Della Delova top. Ronnie Price. Why are we going to play Ronnie Price today? Phoenix and Denver, it should be a high-scoring game. Even if Denver blows out Phoenix, you're looking at 120 to 100 probably, actually, because that would be more like a blowout. And kind of look at what his numbers are in minutes. Do you guys see the minutes because of the Phoenix injuries? Is anyone coming back? He's got the minutes. You want punt plays that give you minutes because they'll give you an opportunity to score. The matchup is not ideal, guys. I'll give you that. You're going up against Denver. I mean, you want to be the Denver guy against Phoenix, to be quite honest. But those guys will be pulled 2 in a blowout, and so will these starters, and Price could see some time if it's a blowout. So there's also an extra bonus with that pick. You think about game flow, guys, even in terms of blowout, and to help you pick a minimum price. Here we have Della Delova against the Lakers. Minimum price punt. Okay, so why are you going to go there? Well, again, let's look at the game stats, okay? So what's his deal? Not bad, huh? 21, 28, 26, 25. Guy sees the core for almost the half the game. And look at the scores, though. He'll give you some shitters. 5, 9, 9. But there's some decent value in there. You need to hit 17.5 or 21 points to hit 5 points, or 6. Has he hit 21? Once, twice in the last 2 games. Does he have a good matchup today? You guys tell me. Do you like playing the Lakers? I think everyone likes playing the Lakers in fantasy. They give up a lot. In almost every position, to be honest, guys. I mean, there are some teams that are just like that because they're towards the bottom of the league in standings, and a lot of teams score a lot of points against them, so that's kind of how projections and things work out. This is why this would be a good minimum price punt play today. Danny Green. Danny Green, Pop is pulling players all the time to rest them. If they blow out Chicago, you know people are sitting like Leonard in the 4th quarter. Green doesn't sit. He sees his time in general, period. He has had a rest here and there, but he just got one. So it's doubtful that he gets one again. I mean, you see the 0 there for sack where he sat. He's playing today, and he should have full minute run. And at 4,200 against Chicago, when you're the San Antonio blows out Chicago, another decent pick at minimum. Well, close to minimum. Guys, you don't always go exact minimum, but when I say minimum, I mean you're trying to go as cheap as you can with as much value as you can get out of it. Etwan Moore will have minutes, but the matchup is not ideal against San Antonio, guys. I mean, look at the minute run, though. 28, 26, 36. Butler out, he's there all the time, period. So at 4,200, I mean, at 27, that guy really paid value. But if he runs a 16 floor on you like he did for the last 3, you're kind of, ugh. Notice, though, one of those 16s is only a 19-point game. So if he gets his full run of minutes, his floor is more around the 20 level. Maybe this 16 you saw in a couple games, but those are tougher well, San Antonio is a tough matchup, too. And you guys can see why there's some plays you might want to pull out. Personally, I won't be running more today. I generally upgrade each position at least in one slot so I can get one really good guy. So you'll see one of these punt plays disappear everywhere. Anderson, San Antonio against Chicago. If it's a blowout, you know the second string is going to be getting in there and getting minutes. Look at that. From the blowout last 21 minutes in there, 20 fantasy points, definitely paid value. That's an easy call if you think it's a blowout. Dunleavy, on the other hand, regardless of the blowout, this guy is seeing time with the Butler injury or anything else. And look at his fantasy minutes on everything else. To be honest with you, I think Dunleavy is the top punt play on the board in terms of punt being a guy under 4,000. At the end of this, he'll be the last guy I'm targeting to upgrade because he probably won't get upgraded. You need to save salary somewhere. He's probably locked in. Jason Thompson. Did you guys notice that he got the starting role just like last game, and all of a sudden he posted 24 minutes against the Nets, and he ran 22 points. The Hawks aren't the Nets, but the Hawks are not Golden State, guys. The Hawks are not, Oklahoma. They're not. So they will lose, and Toronto's a better team. You get a better team, especially if it's a blowout, and now he's a starter. It doesn't really reflect true starting minutes yet, But that's a good enough performance for them to give him another run out tonight. So I'm projecting he'll get another 24 minutes, and that's a nice value. He's going to be my number 2 in there in terms of like the guys I trade out. I'll probably have Jason Thompson and Dunleavy at the end, no matter what, after I've upgraded all these other guys. Laverning, Denver against Phoenix. Like I said, you got a great matchup with a team that should blow him out, and since he's second string really, he's going to come in during blowout minutes there. It just makes sense, and you can expect him to see this general run he's had of at least 15 to 20. Now against Phoenix, that's a nice matchup, so you can expect that 5 times value he's been putting at 19. He had a stinker at 6 against Dallas, but then another 17. It's generally 5 times value. It's an okay punt play. I wouldn't say it has a huge amount of upside, but... And you got Patrick Patterson against the Raptors against Atlanta. Again, you go for the higher scoring team. And look at that minute run again, guys. Beautiful minute run when he gets up there. He even plays like towards the middle because he likes to rest. He's like basically a number 1 option off the bench for them. And good old Patty there ran us for 6 times value on his last game against the Nets. If you think the Atlanta game's any similar, you're looking for a nice run. Towards the bottom there, he put up 29 against Chicago with a 28-minute run. And he's had less minutes last night than he had the last 3. So could he get a few more? It's possible. Okay, so I've gone through all of the value plays. Now, let's look at the extra point guard positions we can upgrade at. I'm going to go through the real fast choices that are easy. Lowry. Lowry will be somewhat lower owned today, and you got to consider him with a higher scoring team going against Atlanta. Lowry can definitely he could hit the value easily in terms of the floor, and since the lower ownership will help you on a day with the 4-game slate, it's worth a consideration if your other punts can let you fit him in. Even over Kyrie Irving there, I mean, Irving will have a good game against the Lakers, there's no question. But do you think he's going to have a 50-point game, guys? Do you think he's going to have a 35-point game? Kind of think with King James rolling against him because the Kobe Farewell Tour is not going to have King James sitting out. I mean, they are resting Cleveland players occasionally, but I think Irving would be the one to possibly sit, which is kind of scary if you take him. Anyways... and this is a good game for them to sit someone, guys. They already said last week they were already talking about sitting people out. So this is a good game for someone like Love to sit or Irving to sit. And someone's going to get hurt on that if that happens. And we aren't going to get news with a 10:30 lock there. Same thing with this whole Russell thing and whether Kobe Bryant plays. There's going to be a lot of people today trying to figure out whether Kobe plays or not. And if we get the news before lineup lock, you can bet people are going to be all over D'Angelo Russell right there and Clarkson in the shot guard position because they're going to pick up a majority of usage with Kobe being out. Now, if Kobe comes in, then you have the other question. How many minutes does he actually play against King James during the farewell tour? If you ask the coach, they would give him a full run of minutes, guys. We all know it. So, you know, the Kobe news really turns on whether you want D'Angelo Russell in your lineup or not. I'd be looking at Mutier, Denver against Phoenix. It's a perfect thing. Going into the shot guard position, those are your higher priced options because that's all I really wanted to hit. Again, I'd be like avoiding Rose because just, yeah, he's got an okay not even really an okay matchup either. I'd just kind of be avoiding him today. Let's see here. DeRozan, probably again a lower owned option because it's a Toronto team. You can definitely look into that if you can spend up there. Clarkson, the news on whether Kobe sits or not. Clarkson almost becomes a must-play with his usage increase with Kobe out. Be looking at something like a Clarkson, Mutier, let's see what else we got here. Clarkson and Booker, because Booker, even when they're losing, will put up 10 fantasy points a quarter. The price is still not caught up with his production when you look at it, guys. I'd be looking at Harris on the other end just because you want to be a shot guard playing Phoenix. I mean, you're going to have a good night, that's no question. You could take a look at J.R. Smith, but he's another one of the potential candidates to sit along with Love and Irving. I don't think King James will sit because they'll want to play him against Kobe for his last game, or at least let the show. If Kobe sits, they're going to give the crowd at least one good guy, and I just don't expect that to happen. But I'd be looking away from most of the Cleveland guys today, even though they probably have a better game on their hands, and it's just an opinion there. If you guys think the other way on me, go against it. I already talked about Danny Green and all these other lower price guys, so we're down there at the bottom. Let's go over to the next position. Okay, in small forward, at the top, we got King James. Great matchup against the Lakers. Probably not going to be pulled. He was rested just a couple days ago. You can pull that up in the game stats and see. Let's see if I can pull his game log here real fast. Yeah, he was rested right there on the 28th. So, they could do it again, I suppose. It is a good game, but I think James is the unlikely one. Kwame Leonard, in a blowout, I'm worried that guy only plays 3/4. I do think he's an excellent play. He's a good source of scoring against Chicago, and they're probably going to beat them quite handily. So Kwame Leonard is an excellent play for today, and again, possibly lower owned because people might think that he could get popped or would be lower. Farther down, you can take a look at Bazemore mid-tier. His numbers have been good except for his last game, and people have short memories here, so that might be a good chance for a lower option. Moving on, power forward. Today we got Millsap. Again, probably going to be lower owned as people aim towards like Fariads and Randalls, thinking that Kobe will sit. There will be people on Love today. I would be looking at Millsap heavily. He has a decent matchup against Toronto when you look at his actual individual defenders and the game situation and flow. Aldridge destroyed it the other day. He was just a massive scorer as he wasn't one of the ones that sat, which means he could be a candidate to sit today. He could get popped. If he doesn't, though, again, he's still a good candidate to go really well. You got Fariad there. Again, Denver, power forward against Phoenix. What a no-brainer. It's a really nice play if you look at his stats. People will be over love on the Lakers, and if he does play, he's got really good... you're playing the Lakers. Randall, if Kobe sits, I'd be considering it. If he doesn't, I'd be kind of sticking away. Taj Gibson has been okay, but the matchup is horrible. Tristan Thompson is interesting. You can definitely take a look at Tristan Thompson, guys, at 46, if you're looking for that mid-tier just to bounce a little bit. Maybe from Patterson, because I'm keeping Thompson. Throw in that right there. Okay, and then at center, we can definitely move up. You'll still have money. Let's see. Tyson Chandler. They've made a new commitment to play Tyson Chandler and Alex Len. Both of these guys, excellent, because they just feed off each other. Chandler is a lot cheaper, tends to see a good minute run, and he's decent, a little above punt play. You still have good numbers, but sometimes the 27, 25, but he has put up a couple bads, 13 and 9, and it all depends on his night, guys. And if they can hang with Denver, it's a good choice. If they can't hang with Denver, I'm not so sure even if he sees extra minutes in the blowout. Valanciunas, guys, people won't be on him today for sure. It'll be a low ownership one, and you're playing against Atlanta, and you're Toronto. This could be a decent pick. It could be one of the 31, 29-point nights instead of the 19s, which would be a nice 5 times value. Jokic, I think people are going to start to look at him more, especially Denver playing against Phoenix, and you've seen his score in the last 3. He's put up 35 fantasy points plus or so, which is a 6 times value. I think Jokic will be highly looked at today, but is a good choice. Same with Len, people are all over them, ever with the new commitment to play, and his price has gone up quite a bit. I think the sneak on the board, though, guys, is Horford. Horford's in a good position against Toronto because they're not particularly good against the center position. It might play to his abilities, and he might be in line for one of those higher 40 or 45-point nights here. If you can sneak Horford in, look at how he was at 68, 38, 38, 41. He was balling a couple weeks ago, but it slowed down a little. But I think it might pick up again tonight. And then, of course, you got Gasol at the top, but the matchup is horrible. So I'd be avoiding that at the high dollar. Okay, that does it for all that. Real fast, let's show you the results from yesterday and how I built these lineups. Yesterday I had a 318.3. I was saying before that 306 was garbage. If you'll notice in my 318, let's go to my entry, and then all entries. It's 2601. 318.3 was a winner. 317.3 was the breaking line. 1 point. That's all I won by. This was the lineup. It was done by putting Tony Douglas in with the news that Norris Cole was going to sit at the last minute for New Orleans. I knew that Tony Douglas would have a high minute run at a $3,500 price. I identified value at the last minute and look at the ownership, 2.5%. Same thing with G, another 35 owned player, 0.2% owned, but put up 5 times value, just knowing that the bench would see some time. That's how you chose Vince Carter yesterday too, guys. And that Davis would have to be the one to get it done at 63. He's also one of the lower priced high dollar guys. We had people at 11 like Harden, and they only scored 50. Paul wasn't as good of a choice. Westbrook was really the nailer of the night. But 5 times value, I'll take it. Booker did well last night. Look at that, 6 to 6.5 times value. And he was pulled because it was a blowout. He sat for like the last 8 minutes of the last game. Same thing with Len at the bottom there. He was looking really bad at halftime, but he really picked it up in the third quarter, and then he was forced to sit. Jermichael Green with the Memphis situation. Zebo sitting at the last minute, but people were on this because it came out early in the day, and that's why it's so important to check for last-minute information, guys, and follow Twitter feeds and things like that. See if you can get a last-minute value on, that just brings it in for you. You never, ever, ever know. Like, and being on it the last minute, like the Kobe news. If we get the Kobe news 15 minutes before, you can build a lineup with like D'Angelo Russell. You build a lineup with Clarkson, and you put a couple of those punts in, and you're going to be very happy campers. And you've got some stuff running on the late game too, which is always nice. Okay, so you've seen my minimum price lineup. These are the results from yesterday. I'll even show you the results from the day before. Those were also winners based on the exact same strategy. It was a 297.7. I didn't win these free rolls things, but you can see I won the layup. And again, it was somewhat close. 297.7. Dividing line was 295.5. It was by 2 points. But I did the same thing the night before. Identified value around Danny Green with Popovich sitting players, and we got the news early. Aldridge, knowing someone would have to score. I hoped Kwame wouldn't, and he was unexpectedly limited in minutes. He might have done better if he hadn't have been. If the Towns had been able to hang in there a little bit, I mean, honestly, a couple of these picks weren't that good, but Bazemore, I picked him on the bad night. But in hindsight, when you see the good plays based on the matchups, because I spent up at the positions, that's how you're able to pull the winning score. Patty Mills there at 4,200. Didn't really pay value, but he paid enough to pull that score up in the end. It's all you're really looking for, making sure they get their minutes. I think Patty Mills ran like 30 minutes because all the other guys were sitting. All right, so I want to just encourage you guys then to build your own lineups and, the way to target the night before real fast, go to a website that I'm called DSFR, guys. It's free. And it's done by multiple sports experts, which is kind of helpful. And I pulled up today's picks right here already. You can see it on their website, dailyfantasysportsrankings.com. They're targeting Mutier, and they have the reason why against the Suns, Kyrie Irving, D'Angelo Russell, and they're talking specifically about if Kobe is there or not. A lot of the things I've talked about here were up the night before, and you can see people that are being targeted. I've given you a lot of low-priced ones to look at. They're already on Jason Thompson, if he's starting. They're on Horford. Anyways, so go ahead and do your little bit of research, to build your lineup, and that's how you do it, guys. That's your forecast for today. I want you to go ahead and subscribe to future daily videos. If I'm not incapacitated, and they'll be out daily, that is. I'll update on Twitter, so follow me there at MikeMiller78 if you have it. I also post injury updates and recommended targets and other lineup changes there if that's something that you're interested in. And definitely, please don't forget to subscribe for notice on new show uploads. We're having a giveaway for reaching 100 subs, so please let me know in the comments what you guys would like, okay? A Visa gift card, FanDuel credit, a specially designed DFS t-shirt, let me know, all right? Go out there, please practice some smart bankroll management. Go out there and go win some money, guys. Talk to me on Twitter if you need any help. Have a great day.